Welcome to the iTNet Tech Update. Since we're getting close to the end of the year, this month we're going to be talking about different topics to help prepare for 2023. That way you're not rushing to do so next month during all the holidays. Today we're going to discuss updating your computer versus upgrading your equipment and what will work better for you and your company in 2023. Cheap doesn't always suit your needs, so let's discuss the pros and cons of both. Hello, I'm Michael Kinnett, CEO and founder of ITernal Networks. And every Friday at 1 p.m. on our Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and my personal LinkedIn, we discuss the latest tech and cyberspace news that might affect you and your business. At the end of our live session, I'll also be answering some questions from the audience. So if you have any tech or cybersecurity related questions, make sure to get them ready because I'll leave some time at the end today for that. Now for the news. This is a fun one. This was recently announced this week. Hundreds of US news sites were pushing malware to their customers that went to their sites in a supply chain attack. So we've talked a lot about last month with cybersecurity awareness month. So we talked a lot about different cybersecurity. So this is a perfect example of some of the things that we talked about, right? This is a supply chain attack. So what happened is threat actors compromised the media company to deploy a JavaScript malware framework called sock ghoulish. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. To the websites of hundreds of newspapers across the US. The media company offers both video content and advertising to the major news outlets. And what happened is these threat actors, these criminals, loaded this benign piece of code that once loaded into the news agency's sites to distribute advertising. It instead loaded this JavaScript malicious files to cause fake browser update notifications to pop up. So you'd go to the news site, and next thing you know, a pop-up comes, hey, Firefox, Chrome, whatever browser you're in, has an important security update. Click here to update now. Well, if a user fell for it and clicked the fake update, guess what? It's going to download something else that's going to infect their system with ransomware or other type of malicious software. The malware has been installed on sites belonging to more than 250 US news outlets, some of them being major news organizations. The total number of impact news organizations is currently exactly unknown, but we do know that it affected at least 250 from New York, Boston, Chicago, Miami, Washington, D.C., and other locations. So if you're browsing the news this week and you see some pop-ups, just be extra wary because that attack's been going on this past week. So now onto our discussion, update versus upgrade, replacing parts on a system versus getting a whole new computer. And this could go for a server, for a laptop, a desktop, any type of computer, right? We're not talking firewalls and network equipment. That's kind of a different conversation. We're going to talk specifically about, computer systems, right? Servers, laptops, or desktops. So a couple of different things to consider, right, for this. And I'm going to start with upgrading and some of the pros and cons of upgrading your existing equipment. So one of the pros is personalization, right? You may be able to upgrade that with a component or something that is not an option in a new computer. One example of that might be a graphics card. If you work in an engineering firm or a graphic design firm or something where you have tasks that require graphic intense processing, you may need to get a faster video card. Well, you have a lot more options and choices in adding that on after the fact than in buying it with a computer, right? So you have a lot more options for how much memory, what size hard drive, do I want 2 hard drives? All of that, personalizing that system to fit your exact needs is very, very much easier to do by upgrading an existing system. Another thing to consider is price. If you have an existing computer and it's just maybe running out of hard drive space or running a little bit slower, it might be cheaper to upgrade that, right? If you're talking about specific components, maybe you notice that things are loading a little bit slower and you look and your RAM is constantly high. Well, it's much cheaper to add an extra memory stick to that computer than to buy a new computer. So you have to look and analyze, okay, well, what's causing the system to run slow? and can a minor upgrade like a memory stick fix the problem? The other thing is familiarity, right? If you have your computer, you probably had it for some time, you like it, you're comfortable with it, you're familiar with it. Changing to a new computer, especially with laptops, right, where you're going to get a different keyboard, it's going to feel different, maybe the layout's a little bit different, and so that's definitely a pro to keeping your existing one and upgrading. Some of the cons of upgrading is some of these parts are tricky to replace, and especially on laptops. If you've got a laptop, if you've got a thin, lightweight laptop, and you look at it, you may notice that there's no screws anywhere visible on those laptops. And so being able to pop open that laptop case without damaging it so that you can add more memory, bigger hard drive, or any of those other types of components, right? It can be tricky. So you may end up having to hire specialists that know how to do that. Costing more money, right? So it may end up costing more than you think to just add a memory stick or something there when you add on the labor of having a specialist that knows how to open those safely. The other thing is your computer may not be upgradable. If you are on Windows 10 or older and you're considering upgrading to Windows 11, not all computers are compatible with Windows 11. If you don't have a TPM module, a TPM 2.0 module that's compatible with Windows 11 and some of the additional security in Windows 11, then upgrading is not an option. And so you need to do a deeper analysis of the system and components and compatibility to make sure that it can be upgraded to what you want. The other thing is if you need more memory, well, if you've got 8 gigs or 16 gigs or 32, whatever you have, each system has a maximum amount of memory. And that can't be changed. The maximum is set by the motherboard and the processor. And so your computer may already be maxed out. So you have to look at all those things. It could end up costing you more than you think, and it may end up not fitting your needs with upgrades and future growth. Which leads to the pros and cons of buying a new PC, a new computer, whether it's server, laptop, desktop, right? One of the pros in getting it is new technology. Your laptop, your desktop, your server, if it's 2, 3, 4 years old, there are at least 2 or 3 newer generations of processor. And each processor generation uses a little bit less power and it's a little bit more powerful. Has more processing cores. There's lots of different things that they've improved. Maybe the bus speed's faster, memory's faster, right? There's all kinds of different minor upgrades that happen when you get something new versus something that's just 2 or 3 years old. And so that you have to look at that and say, okay, well, is the additional 20, 30% in productivity boost on that computer worth buying a new one? Maybe not. Maybe it is, right? Each situation is a little bit different. The other thing is warranty, right? If you add a new memory stick or new hard drive to your existing computer, that computer's warranties, if it's expired, it's expired. You have to either buy a new warranty or buy a new computer to get a new warranty. So that new computer is going to have that warranty, that extended warranty. Many business systems come with a 3-year standard warranty. Some still come with a 1-year. So you got to look at that and factor that into your decisions. The other thing, is new devices, right? New computers just typically work better than old computers because they're built for the software and the applications, the operating systems that are coming out now versus one that's older that gets upgraded. The cons obviously can be more expensive. Buying a new computer could cost more than upgrading an existing one, depending on what type of system you're looking at and other things. One of the other cons is it does require a period of adjustment, right? I mentioned upgrading your existing one has the same feel, same keyboard, you're comfortable with it, you're familiar with it. Well, a new computer, you're going to have to get used to it. There's going to be things that are a little bit differently, especially if you're going from Windows 10 or older to Windows 11, or if you're going from Mac to Windows or Windows to Mac or one of those other changes, right? Everything's going to look a little bit different. It's going to be laid out a little bit differently. And so you're going to have some time to kind of get used to that, readjust to it, make sure the programs are installed and all that's working. So it's not just a quick, easy, upgrade your computer versus buy a new one if X, Y, Z. There's a lot of different things that go into that decision. And the best thing to do is talk to your IT professional about it. If you feel that your computer, your server, or just your network in general isn't running as smoothly and as effectively as you want, talk to your trusted IT professional. If you don't have one, reach out to me and my team, and we can definitely take a look at your stuff, and we can give you a professional opinion on whether those devices can be upgraded or whether they should be replaced. So as you're preparing to plan for next year and next year's budgets and other things, it's important to start evaluating that now, because if you've got some aging technology and there's a chance it might need to be replaced in the next year, it's better to know that in advance, where you can build that into the budget and make sure that you have the resources necessary to be successful in your business. And we would love to help you out with that. Just a reminder, we do have a webinar coming up later this month. We're calling it Helpful Tips and Tricks for Your 2023 Budget. It's going to be November 17th at 1 p.m. Pacific time. And we're excited. We've got a special guest, Matt Swan from the CPA firm Swan & Gardner in Las Vegas. He's going to be joining us. As we're talking about the new year, we want your business to thrive next year. We want you to have a strong budget plan. We want you to have reliable IT services and cybersecurity. And budgeting is a big part of that, right? Budgeting for the proper protections, budgeting for growth, all those things that go into it from a financial perspective in your business to help it be prepared for success. So we're going to be talking about maybe a little bit of tax prep tips, budget planning tips, as well as some things from the IT side that you may want to consider as you're building out that budget. So once again, it's going to be Matt Swan from Swan & Gardner joining as our special guest, answering those questions. So if you have any finance-related questions for your business, bring them on the webinar. I'm sure Matt would love to answer those questions and point you in the right direction. If you have any questions about my topics today or other things, you can feel free to direct message me. I'm just going to check on see if anybody's commenting. I don't see any comments or questions on our live stream here. Thank you those that took the time to watch this. Hopefully we see you next week, and join us on our webinar later this month, November 17th at 1 p.m. Pacific time. Thanks. Have a wonderful weekend.